Okay. So guys, good evening. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Sumit. Me and Sudhir sir are partner in crime. 2 years back, we started a company called iBirder. I represents India, or you can also call it iBirder, right? So I am a birder. I think the whole idea behind this was more about how we can impart our birding wisdom, whatever we had done, because we keep on doing that with a lot of our individuals. But also the other aspect of it was, how do we change the mindset, right? Today, we lose ecology for the birds. We are seeing a tremendous shrink in the count. And then we start thinking about, restoring that ecology, right? So I think our idea is that how we do proactive conservation. Right? So we are working with schools where we're going to introduce a lot of courses, which will be a modular course. Kids can actually take it. I think the whole intent here is, how proactively you are able to support the kids. And once you do that mind change, practically it's going to help you not only the conservation, but overall love for ecology. And as you guys know, any kind of ecotourism like birding is a very circular economy. Helps the whole.
Sir, Payal Batu.
Payal, can you put yourself on mute, please? Is it Payal?
Hello, yes.
Payal, is it you? I think no. I don't think it's Payal. So,
hello.
Yeah,
I'm not able to hear you clearly.
You're able to hear me, right?
There's a lot of disturbance.
Yeah. Okay, now it's gone.
Yes, much better.
Thank you. So guys, I think this 1 hour is all dedicated to sharing our wisdom in terms of, at a very high level, we're going to look at basics of photography. We're going to talk about some settings. We get a lot of questions on settings. We're going to look at birding, because this is something which me and Sudhir sir have been doing for a while now. Sudhir sir doesn't need any introduction, but I'm going to tell you that he is one of the selfless soul what I have interacted with in last 6 to 7 years, because he has done a lot of sharing of knowledge, which is completely free. It's on YouTube, where I see individuals charging a lot of money for such kind of a content. He's ex-Tata Motors, tremendously passionate about not only about birding, but also education. He works as a consultant for colleges, where he contributes with his wisdom. So without further ado, I think we're going to keep around 10 to 15 minutes in the last for a Q&A, where you guys can actually ask questions. So the decorum will be very simple. Right now, please be on mute and hear out Sudhir sir first. And then basically, we're going to have questions, put that on the chat room. That way we can record all the questions, and then we can take those questions and answer your questions. And that's the intent. So we'll keep it interactive, but at the end of it, with that, Sudhir sir, all yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I can see your screen.
Yes. Yeah, in case somebody wants to stop me, we can, but it will be better to have at the end. No issues. So my voice is clear?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So welcome to all. Good evening. I think 23 participants, a good number. We can go ahead. Of course, this what shot you are seeing is a basically composition of 2 images. Whenever you have interest, let me know. I will explain that. So basically, this is a bird photography session conducted by iBirder Group. Sumit talked about it. So this is our team. There is a Premal Patel from Gujarat, Biplab from Malaysia, basically Indian, but right now is stationed there. Sumit and myself, we are all birders, and most of them are professionals. This is our actually patrons. We have very good birders. So Jayavant Karajgikar, Arijit Sarkar, Shubhradev, Anand Bikamshi, and Sham Shankar Bhatt. Sham Shankar Bhatt is, I think, youngest India Book of Records holder. So, iBirder, basically, we talked about bird conservation, nature conservation. So, these are our vision, mission, values. I will not spend some more time here because we will going into details. But this is why we hold very high level of values in birding, and we promote birding. This will be sort of a only organization who promotes birding and bird watching. So these are the places which I have visited so far. And if you look into some color like Bhutan, Tanzania, Kenya, these are the trips extensively made for bird photography. Rest of them are mixed. Some are with professional work plus photography, but Singapore, Thailand, I did a lot of monument and street photography. My bucket list is really still huge. Colombia is pipeline. Ecuador, Brazil, Peru, Texas. We will be visiting Costa Rica coming April again. So huge bucket list, and I hope I will make it soon. So this is a small journey from my side. Nothing great, but that gives my portfolio.
शिवांश देख कैसा है बेटा, उसका बुखार देख.
So this was my journey. As of now, I have covered around 1280 species of the bird and 910 from Indian subcontinent, and the rest is from the world over. So I am in India Book of Records and also Asia Book of Records. So last 6 years, rather this is the 7th year, I am posting on Facebook without any break every day one wildlife image. So that is my record, and I hope this November, coming November, I'll be completing 2500 non-stop posts, and that will be another record. So I'll be filing my record again with the Asia Book of Records. So normally people ask me what kind of equipment I use. So I use basically DSLRs right now, going for R7 soon. But I have a 6D, which is a full frame, and 70 Mark II, which is basically for the wildlife. I have lenses. I normally use 100-400 IS2 with 1.4 TC, and it gives me very good results. But whenever I need, I actually get lenses from Primes and Zooms, which is a very famous company in Pune. So normally I go for 300 2.8 with 2x TC and 500 f4 with 1.4 TC. I have 300 f4 and other wide lenses. I always suggest people that we should use tripod as much as possible. So I have one very strong heavy duty Benro tripod and gimbal, same from Benro. I have also one lightweight Vanguard which I carry for my tours abroad, and also have one able tripod of Manfred. So these are the equipments which I use normally. Whenever I need big lenses, I rent it out. So many people ask you why you are going for the bird photography. So basically, it's a personal hobby. You should have some very good hobby which gives you a positive frame of mind. Then it gives you pleasure seeing birds, photographing them, capturing their movements. Unfortunately, not many photographers understand that they are doing some very good documentation. I will tell you one story that I was photographing from my window. I have a small hillock behind my house. So I was photographing, and I posted that photograph as some other bird. And one British lady told me that it is not the same bird, something else. So I checked with one of my favorite and expert bird guide from Bombay, Adesh Shivkar. And he told me, Sudhir, this is a rare bird, first documentation from Pune area. Is a desert wheatear. So uh, it happens. So you get a wonderful chance to capture rare species. You can do very good documentation, their behavioral patterns, and you can also help the existing body of the knowledge, study and research of the birds. And of course, it is your memory of trips and when you go for outing. And if you are really into it, then you can also go for selling and displays of your images into exhibitions and other things. Is my speed okay?
Yes.
So there is a lot of research already gone into it, and there are British Center of Ornithology and many other universities. They have found that the bird watching and bird photography helps you to lower your levels of depression, anxiety, stress, and whatnot. So it is a benefit for your mental, what you can as a well-being of your mental health, and also the visual observation of nature helps you to the lower the stress and anxiety. So that's why we promote bird watching. I can add one small story here that in 2012 I had actually two heart attacks, one by in the gap of 6 months, and I was not allowed to go out of the home because I was carrying blood clots in my near my heart, near my ventricle wall. So I was not allowed to go out, and I was not even allowed to touch my mobile phone and laptop by doctor. So I started doing the birding. I started bird photography from my window, and I'm actually, you can say, touch wood or it's a God's grace. From that day till today, I have not suffered anything. So this bird watching has actually helped me, and it proves the theory right. So people ask us, how do I start birding? How do I start bird photography? So most of the time, you get a lot of birds in your backyard, just in your society, nearby your house, nearby your parks. So go there and start bird photography. These are the few frames what I have put here are just in my, just behind my house. So I get very regular visitors. My record is around 63 bird species from my window itself. So anybody want to start, you can start from your backyard, from your window. So once you are master that technique, then you can go out and do that. Another question which comes, because I was talking about the kind of equipment of what I use. So I use one full frame and one crop frame. So if you look at this picture with this image, if you look at the outer side, it tells you that it is a full frame image. It is what we call as a 1x. And because I use Canon, I talk about 1.6x or 1.5x Nikon, guys. So if you look at the center, that crop sensor helps you to go near to the bird. And full frame gives you the little more extra habitat. And full frame also helps you to crop the image whenever you want. But if you want to get a good reach when the bird size is very small, then the crop sensor helps you. So that's why this slide is there to tell you. So many people ask whether I should go for full frame or the crop. So this is actually the answer for it. What kind of gears people use? So, and want to use. So basically right now the game is changing and mirrorless will be the near future. They will rule the market. But still DSLR or point and shoot camera is okay. You should get some good lens which gives you good rich for bird photography. So even I'd always prefer and always tell people to go for Tamron 150 600. Now it is a G2 version. It gives you very good reach. So those kind of lenses we can use. Any kind of DSLR body is okay. You don't have to go for high end. To begin with, you can go for even basic levels and then keep on graduating towards a high-end cameras. So you can use lenses like 300 f4, 500 f4, 600 f4, 7300, which is a kit lens. 200, 500 is basically the Nikon lens. So 200, 600, 150, 600. Canon also has 200, 400 with 1.4 TC connected. Now Canon has brought 100, 500 f7.1, which is very good lens. Then Canon also has brought 600 f11, 800 f11 lenses. Very cheap and very good lenses. If you couple it with the R3, R5, R6 and R7 kind of cameras. So people also ask what kind of investment they should do for the photography person. So our thumb rule is 20-80. Invest your 20% money into body and invest your 80% money into the lens. So basically it's your skill, it's the way you look at the frames and the birds, it helps you to get a good image. So we always use this rule 20-80. And these are the few popular combos. Most of us, we know about it. So D500 and 200, 500, D500 and now both the companies, Nikon and Canon, openly said that they will not be continuing with DSLRs now. But D500 and 200, 500 is still popular combo. Plus other lenses like 150, 600. Now mirrorless have already launched by Nikon in the market, Z9, Z6, D5. So all these bodies we have. Canon also has a lot of new cameras, R3, R5, R6, now R7. So R7 is one of the best camera in the market right now, which is very useful for the wildlife photography, bird photography. So it gives you 15 frames per second. On electronic shutter, it gives you 300, 30 frames per second. So Sony also has some good combos. Their popular lenses 200, 600, and people are now preferring Alpha 1. And also they have 7 series Mark 3, Mark 4 versions available. So these are some kind of advice to all of you that some people may ask me where I should keep my lens and camera. I always keep my cameras in open. So you can see here that my camera is always in the open. I will not keep it into my bag. If you keep it in bag, then there is a chance that it will catch fungus because of the humidity. So don't keep it in closed cupboards. Don't keep it in your camera sack for a long time. Put it outside in the open. It works well. In case you want to use some kind of a typical jugaad or typical low cost investment rack cabinet, then you can put 0 watt 1 or 2 bulbs in your any wooden cabinet and keep your gears over there. It helps you to avoid the humidity and also avoid the fungus. And of course, if you really want to go for it, you can go for the dry cabinets. Then we we tell people to use these lens wipes by Zeiss. They're not so costly, but it helps to keep your lenses, the surfaces clean. And also we need to keep it in mind that especially when we are in wildlife sanctuaries like Tadobas and Pench and Ranthambore, where the dust is there, do not open your camera directly. So try to use your maybe towel or something covering and open your camera under that cover, change the lens and put it back. So using rain and dust covers will help you in long way. They are not so costly, hardly 1,000 to 1,200 rupees. Rain covers will help you to avoid the dust. So people ask me, what is that makes a good bird photo? So of course, it has to be your own idea. Whether you like it yourself, then it's a good photo. Then basically, if you are using proper techniques, good composition, it is a basic qualities what we need to say that it is a good photograph. Then there are technical factors which everybody is aware of, but we don't think when we are on the field. So basically, what kind of exposure we are looking at, sharpness, accuracy of the colors, how much details I am getting out of it. For example, Sony cameras now have a little warmer colors than the Canon. Canon has basically warm colors and Nikon has little cool colors, that is, it moves towards bluish. Nikon has, I think, sorted out somewhat in their mirrorless cameras. Now you can also get little warmer colors in the mirrorless of Nikon. So there are other aesthetic factors, lighting, composition, where you stand, where is the subject, what kind of background you are getting. Any decisive moment, we call it as a 3 second. Within 3 seconds, you have to take that frame, otherwise you lose the opportunity. So sometimes you can also go for artistic consideration and not only for the sharpness or the too close up of the bird. You can also cover habitats, you can also cover the surrounding. So it tells the real story to the viewers where the bird actually was available. And of course, your technical and artistic capabilities and your thinking, the way you look at your viewer, how the bird is seen in the frame, and then click it. And of course, there has to be a surprise or wow element in your image. So we can have a look at some images to give you example. On the left side, you can see the blue-eared kingfisher. It's a pair, and both of them have brought food for their chicks. So these are the kind of a rare moments where both the male female are there in the one frame. Both of them, they have brought the feed. Both of them, they are looking at each other. And once they nod to each other, they will dive towards the nest. In the middle frame, it is a black heron eating the snake. So we saw it in Tanzania, and I was the only person at that moment who saw that there is a snake, and I focused on the snake and not on the other thing. Others missed it out. If you see at the right corner, basically it's a type right top corner, is that rain quail. So most of us, we get a rain quail photograph, correct? But here I was waiting for that rain quail to come up just in front of those flowers. These are the jungle flowers. Everybody gets it on some mound, some stone, but I wanted it on the background of those flowers. So you have to just wait and add that to wow factor. Here you can see the Alexandrian parakeets feeding each other. The central photograph is actually, I never thought this will be a very important documentation. But this is where how the black vultures accommodate crested caracara. Crested caracara is actually falls into vulture category, but it's actually a sort of an eagle. And this black vultures accommodate caracara in their clan, in their eating area. And that's how you can say that the black vulture is actually agreeing, welcoming the crested caracara into their eating field. And of course, you can see the Mrs. Gold's sunbird, the rhododendron flowers. So you have to just wait and add that sort of colors into your images. So this is what we talk, direction and quality of light. So we say your shadow should be falling towards the subject. So direction and quality light, basically composition, look at the background, how you can left, right, up, down, and change the BG behind the bird. You have to look at the proper setting, look at the exposure, we will talk about it. And this is what I was talking about, your position, where are you? If you needed, you can climb the car. If you needed, you climb the hillock, position yourself so that you come to the eye level or at least the good level where you can see bird rightly, and you can also change the BG rightly. So here you can see the hornbill was trying to eat the fruit. It actually fell down, but you can see the background. Others were getting the trees and the branches, but I could get the brown BG, which is actually, there is one house long away from that frame, but once you move yourself, you can get that creamy brownish background. So some basics, most of us we know. So this picture shows you where to hold your camera, where your finger is, where your first finger is on the shutter button, eyebrow contact. I will show you one photograph. Many people have that habit, and I always tell them that you stay little away from the camera, maybe 1 inch, 2 inch behind the camera. I will show you that. So basically your head position, rest position, how your elbow is attached to your body so that you don't get shake. So this image talks about it. We will talk about it little later on also. So just let's run this. This fellow is a very good bird photographer and he does a lot of videos also. So he tells you how to stand and
join me in my front garden on this cold winter's afternoon, or certainly cold for us.
Is the voice clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Join me in my front garden on this cold winter's afternoon, or certainly cold for us softy southerners. Let's talk about grip. Now, obviously I don't want to teach Granny to suck eggs here, but essentially my grip, pretty standard. So one finger on the shutter release, that's the index finger, and my thumb on the back button for focus. And in terms of holding the lens, just one hand underneath the barrel. So I get into that position and pretty much I use this every time I take a shot. So this is the grip. One thing I will point out, that these telephoto lenses have function buttons on the barrel, and about a year ago I covered this lens, or actually it was a Canon lens, in this lens coat and forgot about these buttons, and every now and again my focus wouldn't work because I was pressing the focus hold button on the barrel. So just be aware, if you cover your buttons, make sure you don't touch them inadvertently. And let's talk about stance. So for flight photography and these large lenses, you can easily become unbalanced. So a good idea to have your feet at least shoulder width apart. So let's go back a bit. At least shoulder width apart. And if I'm facing this way to shoot at that sort of 90-degree angle, I put one foot forward, and pretty much every time I raise the camera and I swivel the hips to trap the bird. So again, bird, raise the camera, swivel the hips, trap the bird.
so he tells you how to stand. Basically, people are not aware when we are on the field. So if you stand sort of keeping your feet wide enough so that you don't lose your balance, and at the same time you get a very strong footing to shoot with the heavy lenses. So many people ask about RAW versus JPEG. So we strictly say no to JPEG. JPEG is a kind of an image which gets processed within your camera, and your RAW file gets converted with camera software which is built in, and the JPEG is getting created. So Raw file is a flat file where all your data resides. And you can work on that flat file in Photoshop or whatever software you want to use, and you can create a good image. But once you shoot a JPEG image, you will not be able to do much about it because a lot of data gets lost when the image gets converted into JPEG. Also remember that when we shoot and when we look at our screen of the camera, how the image has come. So that could be maximum 12 to 14 KB image converted by the camera to show you how the image is. So don't be in a hurry to delete that image immediately. Sometime when you go back on your laptop or PC, you may find that so this image was good and can be used. So never delete any image in the field. Sometime also it can happen reverse way that you feel the image was good, and when you go to the laptop, you will find that the image is not that sharp. But still, these two slides talks about that RAW offers more creative processing flexibility. And I think Sumit and we have already talked. We will conduct one hour session on the processing, how you can process raw image sometime later, maybe the next one. So I always tell people that don't shoot into JPEG, go for RAW. Then there are various modes, and some people use TV without understanding. Some people will use manual. Some people go for auto shoot. So here they tell you that auto is a sort of a point and shoot setting. So the body will decide, the camera decides everything for you. It will choose the aperture, shutter speed, ISO, everything for you. And it will shoot the image for you because its camera is controlling. In manual mode, you are actually controlling. So you know what kind of exposure you want, light you want, all of the shutter speed you want. In semi-auto, what happens is what we call as the aperture or the TV, basically the moving. So you set one of the elements and the camera decides the rest of the images for you. So next slide will show you, we talk about this kind of button. So you choose and you decide what I want to do. So AV and TV modes are basically, I always go for AV mode. Very rarely I will go for TV mode. So AV and TV, they sit somewhere in the manual and auto. So they are known as a partial manual or the partial auto. And AV mode will give you the timer value. It controls your aperture. TV controls your shutter speed. So you choose the moment, you choose the condition and decide the mode. But I have seen that AV mode, aperture mode works well in almost all conditions. Even though this is a basic, let's understand this triangle. So basically, if you look at the left side of the triangle, it talks about the depth of the field. Right side talks about the motion, and the base call it as a noise. So when you start moving from say 50 ISO to say 6400, now people talk about 10,000. So the noise will go on increasing the moment you start increasing the ISO value, which is everybody knows about it. But higher the ISO value means you get more and more light. So your image will be going towards the sharpness. If you look at the left side, the depth of field, when I'm talking about the F number, people get confused. So I'm using the F number word. So if your F number is lowest, then the depth of the field will be shallow. That means your subject will be in great focus. The rest of the things will be blurred. On the right side is the motion is basically your shutter speed. So whatever 1/500, 1/250 we put, it will give you the right combination. So these three things will decide the quality of your image. And I will show you one more slide where we will talk about the details. So this is everybody knows that it goes from f2.8 to f22. So f2.8 means people call it as a wider aperture or the larger. So lower the f number, it will be wider, small, rather higher the number of f, that means f22, f16, the aperture will become narrow.
Sudhir sir,
Yeah.
if I may interrupt, my apologies.
Uh,
I also noticed there is a box coming up on all our screens.
uh-huh.
What is that? On the top, we are able to see that box. Is that the button?
Black? Yeah. It's actually zoom panel.
Can you
Is it?
minimize that? Can you remove that or something?
I don't know.
Or you can run this like this PPT only. At least people are able to see the whole screen.
Is it okay?
Yeah, now it's gone.
Okay. Just 1 second. I will again take a. It's still there now?
No, it's not there anymore. Yeah, this is helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay. So we looked at the F number, then lower the F number, more light will come on the sensor. Higher the F number, less light will come. So depth of field, lower the F number, it will be shallower depth of field. I will explain again in the next slide. And higher the F number, it increases the depth of field. So more things will be sharper, clear, and get covered into your frame. And people ask how you blur the background. So this is that idea. Lower the F number means your BG will be very blurry, sort of a creamy background. When you move up, the number is going up, the background will start getting coming into your picture in more details. So this actually image explains you the funda. If you look at the top image, and I hope you can see the blue square over here where the girl is standing. So dog is there out of that blue frame, and the photographer is standing here, and he's shooting with f2.8. So the girl, front of the girl and some part of the backside comes into your frame. So that will be in the focus. The tree, the dog will be little bit blurred. If you increase the F number, that means if you go to F16, F11, F10 kind of thing, you can see now the blue square where the tree is getting covered, the girl is also getting covered, and the dog is also getting covered. So that is known as you get a lot of coverage if you go above the what we call as a F7.1 and F8. So if you want more things in focus, in clear details, you have to go a little bit above the f2.8, f4, f5.6. I will also show you one slide which explains. It's a very interesting article. Anybody get a chance? Richard Story has written this article, F8 and B there. So if you look at this back image, you can see the F8 at the middle of this. So this is known as a general purpose aperture. It never fails. I always shoot at f7.1 and f8, and I sometimes go above also. So this f8 will never fail you. We know that when I am at f8 or f7.1, the light will be little less coming in, but it helps you to get more sharper pictures. So I will tell you how to find out a sweet spot of your lens, but this is actually f8 is known as a sweet spot for most of the lenses. So whether you are at the higher end of the body or the lower end of the body, whether you have a prime lens or any other lens, most of the time f7.1 and f8 plays a very good role in getting the good images. I will show some examples also. So this is what I also tell people that most of us have a habit of closing one eye and shoot with the other eye. Also, we have to remember that the camera body is designed for the right hand person, and it was never designed for the lefties. So it is designed for the righties. So we have a habit of closing one eye and shoot it. So I will suggest you to try whenever you have time, keep both the eyes open, and you will get into practice within no time. So it's a question of hardly 1 or 2 days, and you will start seeing the benefits of it. Why you should keep your both eyes open is basically you can see what is happening in the field. You don't have to guess where the bird has jumped because you can see the whole thing outside while you are shooting. Another thing what I always suggest is don't push yourself into that rubber grommet where the viewfinder is there. If you go inside and when you come out, you are not able to see anything after that because you are so focused. When you come out, you start losing the details from the habitat. So keep some distance, hardly half an inch or 1 inch away from the your viewfinder, and you will see that you can see wonderful things very clearly. You have a good control on the things happening outside your uh, viral tucker and joint. So this is one thing which I want to say. And also, this is Jan Wegener, a famous bird photographer. So he's showing technique when you are holding a long lens, prime lens. So keep your hand at the bottom of the lens where the gimbal is fitted or your ball joint is there. So it gives a stability. Also, if you keep a hand either at the bottom or the top, based on your length of the lens, it helps you to stabilize the motion. So you will be able to get sharper picture with this kind of technique. So whenever possible, use tripod on the field. It takes little time to get habitual. Then basically whatever you see, like the bottom of the where the lens is fitting the foot, the top, all those buttons, you should see the control knobs, tighten it very properly. Otherwise, I have seen the lenses, the body is falling down. So also ensure that the tripod is able to handle the weight of your lens and weight of the camera body. And that's why I have given in the bottom, the tripod should take at least 3 times the load. That means your lens body, suppose it is a 2 kg and camera body is 1 kg. So 3 kg. So you need a minimum 9 kg and above load carrying capacity of your head and the tripod. So gimbal head and the video heads are preferred compared to ball head because ball head, you need to keep a hand over there all the time. Video head will help you to move your body and lens based on your convenience. Gimbal also helps, but video gives you a smooth motion. And as I showed you in earlier slide, you can use your arms to stabilize the, uh, you can avoid the shape. You can use it as a vibration dampeners. And of course, image stabilization or the vibration reduction, you keep on using it. Some people they ask now, I am already on the tripod. Should I keep the image stabilization on or should I remove it? No need to think on that now, because the camera body, the techniques and the designs have improved like anything. So they take the care of it. So you just keep the stabilization on and use it, and use faster cards so that your buffering happens fast. In case you have time, in case the subject is cooperating, you can use the self timer. You can use the cable release to get a stable frame. Then we were talking about the wow factor and other things. So I always use the single point focus, and if that focus will be on the eye of the bird, you can see here this toucan, the focus is on the eye. This owl is flying, again the focus is on the eye. So you have the lot of focusing points in your camera. Just study that. Go to YouTube and find up your camera body and use those focusing points. So in my case, at least 21 points are active in a frame so that I can catch the bird movement very easily. Some people, they use the first thing where all the points are active and the central point is for the focusing of the on the bird. Now, there is another interesting factor called to bring that wow factor, which is little technical, mathematical, which is known as a Fibonacci. So Fibonacci spiral or the golden ratio, which is 1.618 to 1, works well. So in case you are cropping your image, just download this Fibonacci spiral from uh, any Google site, but download that PNG frame and use that Fibonacci spiral on your when you are composing, when you are cropping. It becomes little tough in the field to begin with. Once you understand, then you will be able to recognize why your frame or why your image is liked by the people. So you can see this black now. It's showing you the Fibonacci spiral. So in this my frame, the Fibonacci spiral has come exactly at the beak and the bird is balanced. And that's why you will see that people like your image on Instagram or Facebook, wherever it is. Again, on the summer tanager on the right side, you can see the Fibonacci spiral is working for you. So there are very good videos available on YouTube, and you can download this Fibonacci. If anybody wants, I can also forward. I have that PNG file with me. So some tips. Basically, I always tell people, if possible, use prime lenses compared to telephoto zoom lenses. But money matters, so no harm in using telephoto zoom lenses. Don't use extenders on cheap zoom lenses. So people keep on asking me, can I add 1.4 kind of TC to 200, 500, 200, 600, even 150, 600. So don't do that. It reduces quality drastically. But if you have a lens like white lenses of camera, Canon, like what I am using, 100, 400, I actually regularly use 1.4. Whenever you go to camera shops and want to buy lenses, the seller will always tell you to buy UV filters. So don't use UV filters. UV filters has no value. It can help you to protect the lens, front lens. That's all. It will reduce your clarity very much. As we talk, we use tripods, bin bags. Uh, I showed you the technique what Jane Wagner is using. So keep your hand on the top or the bottom. In case of low light, try to see that you are on the tripod, and even you get, I have taken some shots at 1 by 40, 1 by 20, 1 by 80, and still they will be very good sharp shots. So no need to worry on that count. But as everybody talks about it, when you want a bird in flight, see that you get a good speed of 1 upon 1000, 1 upon 2000 kind of thing.
So these are
yeah.
Just a quick time check, another 2 minutes, and then
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. I will give me 5 minutes.
Sure.
So I always shoot in aperture priority. As I said, 7.1 f8. I tell people to go for higher, so don't worry about your body, because nowadays you can use Topaz D-Nice kind of softwares to reduce the noise. Even Photoshop is now bringing that no noise kind of noise reduction filter. So go ahead and shoot the frames the way you want. Then back button helps. Now with mirrorless, it will go out. There is no need to crop or unnecessarily go towards the bird and bring the bird more in the frame. You can also shoot habitat. You can also put the habitat, show people how the bird looks like into habitat. And I said earlier, no field. Sometimes you can lose a lot of images. One of our friend lost more than 700 images in Costa Rica. So he had to again pay $70 next day and went to the hide and again tried to shoot the king vulture. So don't try to do that. There is no need. We have lots of cards. You have lots of backup. So use that. Then bird in flights, camera settings, high shutter speed you need. High ISO if needed, go above 800,000. I use on the field minimum 800 or 640 for this kind of purpose. You can see the right side, I have got a Shine Falcon picking up a kill and going. I could shoot almost 40 frames, even at f8. And the speed was, I think, 1 upon 1000 years. So keep the image stabilization on. If you want to shoot the bird in flight, focus on the greenery behind it, so that when the bird is flying, you will be able to catch the bird very fast. So whenever you have time, do this. If you have a cooperating kind of a subject, you can shoot at various F numbers. And this is what I have done from F4 to F14. And you can see that first photograph shows you very good BG, creamy BG. And the moment I start going up F14, you can see that the details have started coming out. But if you look at this black-headed bunting, even at F10, it is good. This ODKF is still at F8 is good. So that's what I always say, that shoot above 7.1 and F8. So you can use any kind of Photoshop, or I use Photoshop. So any software is good. We will have one post-processing shop workshop, maybe the next one. So we have a lot of interesting stories. I can tell you one story and then we can go ahead. This is what I shot basically the GIB, Great Indian Bustard. This is shot in Kutch near Nalia. So we traveled almost for non-stop 8 hours to get this. This was in military area. We had to take permission from military, but they were very happy when we showed them the photographs that we have come to see this rare bird. Now people say that is hardly 100 remaining in the wild. Then this is a forest outlet. This was actually treated as a vanished kind of species, but I was lucky to get it in Melghat in Maharashtra. Again, Barbary falcon, LRK. This is Ward Strokon in Bhutan. What we do here is that whenever you visit any place, study that place very well. Buy the books, look at Facebook, Instagram images, see the YouTube clips. And when you are on the field, first shoot the BG. So the bottom 3 images show that I go there, I shoot the images, and I'm ready once the bird activity starts. So you can see that I keep at least 2 cameras. So you can see right now I'm shooting with my 100-400 and my 500 f4 is also ready near to me. So I keep at least 2 bodies, 2 lenses ready. So you can see that I shot this vulture with 100-400 lens at 100 mm focal length, and this is at 500. So you get all the kinds of shots. So there are some unique frames. I will just run through fast because I have already studied. I have talked to some birders who already went to Costa Rica. So I knew that there will be a log. I was just waiting for rains to come. So these are all details. So I could get a good shot. This is again, this was very tough when we went to Costa Rica to shoot hummingbirds. All our hummingbirds are without flash. So we learn how to get it. So we were started focusing the leftmost point of the camera was focused on the flower and rest of the active points were kept. So whenever the bird was coming into the frame, it was coming into the clear frame the way we want. Again, these are the orange chain parakeets. This is what we wanted to have water drops. So we increase the F number. This is again the hummingbird. This was the first hummingbird what we saw in Costa Rica. This is what we talked. I wanted this rainquail on the background with background as a flowers. Then many people ask query. So this is actually shot at F9, though they are in almost in one plane. So if you want everybody, all the birds in your frame tack sharp, then keep on increasing your F number to get it. Again, the Bhutar laughing thrush. This is at F7.1. People were telling me not to shoot white on white, but you can see how it works well. So I wanted the snowflakes, snow falling particles, and also the snow pigeon. So I went at F9. This is a different frame than the others. They have a habit of hanging down and eating the bananas and fruits. Again, this is a rare chance to get hummingbird sitting on any perch. This is a monal, female monals, looking at each other. They have beautiful eyes, blue eyes. You can see that actually snow is falling behind them. And this one was shot because this roller has lost its beak and the beak actually grows back. So this was a good documentation. Again, a sparrowhawk, almost eye level. And you can imagine that F11, I can get this kind of backgrounds. People will try to see that bird, this is one of the rare but not easily to get it. So yellow-rumped honeybird, but I wanted it on the honeycomb. It is eating honey. So I wanted that big frame where people understand why it comes there. This is a cocktail of woody cave. And this is my favorite frame of molar. It took me almost 20 minutes to get this frame. It was freezing cold, -6 degrees. I have removed my hand gloves, lying on the snow to get it. I knew that molar will fly from my right side to the left side. So I had some 6-7 feet gap of getting the frame, and I could get luckily 3 shots. That's it. These are summary. Thank you. Yeah, Sumit, go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much, Sudhir sir. I think so, guys. This being the first session. I think we just wanted to sprinkle over the overall aspect of photography and birding. We can do a lot of double clicks. Even I know every single topic which Sudhir sir talked about practically can be a much longer session. Just like setting up your camera, right? Setting up your camera is it's an exercise which you conduct. And that helps because when you land up in the field, you don't have time to make settings.
Yes.
So I think sir shared his secret that F8 is a magical number, right? If you stay there, you will be able to make great images, even if you click most of it. So in the interest of time, what we're going to do is I have the recording, so I'm going to stop the recording. Practically, I will share the YouTube recording. I'm going to upload that on that. But why don't we utilize some more time now? All of you are on mute, so you can unmute yourself. Ask your questions to Sudhir sir or myself. Let's take some questions.
Is it okay if I go first?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, Sudhir sir. Hello, Sumit. And good evening, everyone. Absolutely nice. Great to see the presentation. I learned a lot, actually. I had one question actually I put before. So the question is, do you think videography is the future as we have more affordable hybrid cameras coming out? And probably that is more engrossing even from like viewer perspective, right? So what are your thoughts about it?
Yes, what has happened is that YouTube and Instagram has changed the game. So everybody talks about now videography. There are 2-3 advantages is that you get a lot of documentation available at your hand. So you can scan it, you can keep it, you can store it, and you can share it with the world. Instead of one frame, you have multiple frames to show people. So even if you go for kind of thing, YouTube Shorts, which is 15 seconds, so you can still share more than 10 or 12 frames in that short time. If you go on YouTube, then you have more chance. On Instagram, if you put a one minute clip, you'll be able to show more thing in that clip. So in videography, yes, you will be able to show habitat, you will be able to tell the story behind your shooting, and you can also show what you wanted to shoot. So maybe another 2 or 3 years down the line, videography will be the major part. Yes. So that's why Canon has come out with a lot of good videography cameras.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Sir, if you could elaborate on Fibonacci concept that you just mentioned, and how to use it in the frame.
Okay. So let me see if I have it. You can see this now, the screen?
Yes, sir.
So what happens here is that basically this is that known as a golden spiral or the golden ratio. And this came out from basically people started knowing about it very because Fibonacci has a sequence, mathematical sequence, but that famous painting of Mona Lisa is actually based on this. So if you look at the center point where the smallest square is available, that has to be your
focal point.
Focal point where the bird is there. So when you start to put everything into the frame, you see that your most important subject in your frame is actually at the smallest square. For example, you are shooting a wide frame of, say, landscape. There is a huge waterfall and everything, and there is only one person smaller in the size standing on the rock, and that person comes to into that small square. You will see that that image will be hit with the many people. People will start liking it immediately because your attention goes towards that point. So if you can bring your frame and fit this into it, you will start realizing that people like this frame very much. So that's why we were talking about
So my question, sir, is whether to use this Fibonacci thing on the subject or in the frame.
On the subject. On the subject. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, I have not put anything which is a wider frame, but this is what we were talking about, where my bird's eye is here.
Yes.
You can see it. And
because
okay, my earlier Instagram account was hacked. I have created a new. So my earlier, you can go account and see, I had something around 1,000+ images. And while cropping, I do take care of this. Sometime in the field itself, if you are holding vertical or horizontal, you come to know immediately. And if you have activated your grid, 3x3 grid in your camera, even in your mobile phone, you can try that. If you activate that 3x3 grid, there are lines available. So you can immediately compose your frame accordingly. This is very interesting. It becomes a little difficult on the field. But when you are coming back and you are processing, then try to put this Fibonacci on your frame and then crop it, compose it. It helps really.
Fine, sir. Thank you.
And you will see that it becomes really hit with the people immediately.
Ji. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we are over time by 3 minutes, but at the same time, happy to take any one last more question.
Yeah.
If no one has a question, I can ask one.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. You mentioned about the white balance, setting the white balance in post, right? When you have a raw file.
Yes.
What has happened is, or what I'm struggling with is, there is white balance and then there is tint, right? Like another parameter called as tint. So I'm like just setting the white balance on post doesn't actually like match the actual scene that I'm like if I take a photo in the mobile, in the iPhone, right, of the same scene, and then I come in post, for example, I'm not able to match the colors like if I set the same Kelvin, right, that I've set.
Yeah.
So how to fix that?
What I normally say, which body you are using?
I'm using Fujifilm system actually.
Fujifilm. So what my basic suggestion is that keep auto white balance to begin with.
Yeah.
Let the camera body decide, because nowadays the body have very intelligent kind of softwares. So let the body decide what kind of white balance it should take. And while processing, do not touch the tint at all.
Okay.
So for few images, you don't touch the white balance and don't touch the tint at all and process it. So when we have a workshop on processing, maybe the next month, I will show you how it works well.
Okay.
So most of the time people will tell you, experts tell you to set your own white balance. So people go for 5400 kind of Kelvin, some go for 4800, some people go for 6000. But in my case, when you talk about 5400, it is actually a daylight kind of thing. But my 7D Mark II body works well at 4800. So body may decide well. So after that, I was earlier using 6000, 6400 kind of Kelvin. Sometimes when you are shooting at sunset or sunrise, I used to go for 10,000 kind of thing. Then I stopped it. I said, no, let the body decide. And I have found that my 7D Mark II decides very well. So if you go for say higher end cameras, I think it will work well. Fuji has little warmer colors, so it will help you.
Also, one follow-up question. There is this option for custom, like you take a picture of a white paper on field or a gray paper. Is that something you would recommend, or AW automatic white balance?
No. You go for auto white balance and it will help you.
Okay.
Because if you do with the paper, then it takes that white as a base.
Yes.
And it may not match with your habitat. It may not match with your existing colors on the field.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. And Sudhir sir, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you.
My only last word of advice would be, you will not be able to learn photography, with these webinars. Let me tell you that. At the end of the day, you have to be in the field, and that's where you actually get all the exposure. So, I think me and Sudhir sir personally took that initiative of, launching tours for ourselves as well, so that, we can practically share the same feedback with you, what you're going through right now in terms of, practical, right? So we take a hand-holding and ensure that you're able to learn. So with that, we'll wrap. I have recorded this session. I'm going to stop this recording now. We'll share the link. If you guys have any questions, drop an email to info@iburger.
Yeah.
Right.
We can take one-on-one.
And connect us on Facebook as well as on Instagram. We are there. So happy to, help wherever we could.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your
Thank you. Bye-bye.
participation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.